Hello everybody. This is not going to be, sorry about it shaking, a tutorial of how to do a painting. This is how to enhance a painting and other tips that I think could help you. First of all, I bought these little bottles here on Wish. They have a great craft line. And if you put that craft in their subtitle, you'll get all kinds of things come up. They got these in like 4 different sizes. I put black paint in this one, and I started on this canvas because it didn't pop. I liked it, don't get me wrong. It's just that it didn't stand out, and I thought it needed some black. Now, I tried to clean the nozzle with a sewing needle, and I don't know if I cleaned it good enough, but we'll find out. And what you do is you look for an area that you want to start on. Yes, it's working. Try to be as steady-handed as you can, and as even pressure. If you get a little too much paint, just go back over itself. This paint has been thinned down just a little bit, less than a smidgen, more like a pinch. You're from the South, you know what I'm talking about. If not, it's listed online. See, I see lines that I don't think you can see. But you can do this sitting in a lounge chair, because this is not going to go anywhere. Every once in a while I have to stop because I'm filming this. See what has already happened? Now right here is not enough paint compared to the rest of it. And it started drying. If it's thick and thin, doesn't matter. Always start at the top and work down, or you're going to end up having to really take your time to do this. If you have to stop in the middle because you've got nowhere else to go, what the heck? Do it. I just watched a movie. Oh, I'm so in love with the star. He died 2 years. When I was 2 years old, he passed away. Lost Horizon is the movie. The man is Ronald Colman. I've looked for a Ronald Colman all my life. Random Harvest is another one of his greats. There's 2 movies that I have to watch. Lost Horizon, which is about finding Shangri-La with Ronald Colman. And then another one called The Song of Bernadette, which is Jennifer Jones as a teenager. And, oh, I have to stop everything and watch those movies. I've got them. I've got copies of them. But if it shows up on Turner Classic Movie, I stop everything to watch it. Okay, back to this. You don't have to start in the same place that you ended. You can start anywhere with this. Try to leave off with the tail. But it's so easy. And when you find these paintings that just it needs something, and you don't want to paint over it. You really like it, but there's just not enough to it. Here we go. What I'm doing is cleaning off the tip, and then I'm blowing in it. I've got many colors. I've put gold, white, dog fur, and of course a mauve pink color. And you get like 10 of these, and if you work it right, if somebody else has bought some, you can buy for $1, click on this other person and save 10 cents, and then $1 postage, and for $1.90 you got 10 of these little guys. The only drawback is you have to wait up to 30 days because all that stuff on Wish is coming out of China, and it takes that long to get to the United States, and China has free shipping, so they're making $1.90 off the whole thing, which to them is a lot of money. To us, not so much. Okay, that's tip number 1. Okay, I'm back. This is my second tip of the day. These are the tools that you'll need to make a new canvas. Heavy duty staple gun, pair of pliers, a nice edge screwdriver, and a pair of scissors. Okay, I'm going to flip this over and show you. There was damage done because I put this canvas someplace I shouldn't have, on the back of a chair, and then I shoved 2 dot matrix printers, which, you know, are at least 25, 30 years old, up against it, and it poked through, and I was really sad. And before I got to this tutorial, I was putting in background and got some black paint on, but it doesn't matter because it was already ruined. Okay, this is canvas. In my dumpster diving, which isn't really dumpster diving, when people move out, you know, everything's on the side of the road, and I go through it to get what I'm mainly looking for is fabric for paint cloths. Okay, first, you're going to need the screwdriver to get up under, and that you can get hurt. Be careful. That's a screwdriver stab. That's a screwdriver stab. Don't get your hand like this and then proceed to do this, because that's what I did. You gotta tackle it from like here, that way. Okay, and then when you get underneath, pull the canvas up by just twisting your screwdriver canvas, the staple. And then you take a pair of needle nose pliers and you pull it out. Just that simple. Okay, I already pulled all the others out. Now, if you've got a lot of paint buildup, this is the time to take your frame and go out into the garage and find your sander or your husband's sander and sand down this paint. If you don't care, don't worry about it. But if you wanted to get it to look like, or you could just flip it over. No, you can't flip it over because there's an edge on this one. Sometimes there's not an edge and you can flip it over and use the other side. Anyway, okay, the next step is cutting these corners. Use the old canvas as a template to cut, because you're going to need to cover this point. You don't want to cut all the way up. You'll find that every time you split a canvas down, you're going to see where it came up close to, and cut with your scissors the underlying canvas. Now, mind you, this canvas is not treated with gesso. It makes it a little harder to work with if you gesso this canvas first and then do this. I found that gesso, doing it afterwards is a whole lot easier. And I've done this corner too. This is the only corner that I did not do. And I'm going to do it right now. If I can get over here. It's a little crooked. It doesn't matter because it's going to be folded. See, it's pretty close. Make sure that it hasn't shifted on you. And you got the same amount on each side. Now, I know you're thinking, what about the raw edges? Okay, the best thing to do is wait till the canvas is put together, or before you do this next step, take and run a bead of Elmer's glue or that sew no stitch stuff and run it right along the edges. No stitch is for repairing hems and that kind of thing in your sewing notions department of your fabric store. Some craft stores have a fabric department, and then they just have the notions where you can get the sewing machine needles and stuff. But you'll see it's called no sew. And what it does is it just glues the edge. Like if it was on a hem. Okay. Now, there's nothing you can do with this. It's a lost cause. So now you lay the frame down. You can fix some corners like this one. Anyway, start with one edge. Make sure that you've got enough coming over, and start in the middle. This is where you get your staple. Make sure you got plenty of staples on hand. Do one. Sometimes you can come back, stretch this before you do your second. You always want to go in the opposite direction for the second staple. Get it as tight as you possibly can. See, that staple did not stay. If a staple doesn't work, just rip it out. You can come back with a hammer and push them down even further. You can go all the way around here to make this super tight this way. But always do the opposite corner. Come really tight. Use all your strength to pull it, because this last staple is the one that matters. Okay, I know you can see a lot of wrinkles. We're going to come back with this. You're going to want to fold this little bit in. At the same time, you're going to bring this up. And what you're wanting to do is bring this over. You're going to fold that little bit, bring it over, give yourself a really sharp point. If it buckles underneath you, just play with it. If you need to, you can put a staple there. I'm just trying, it's not working real well for me, but I've done so many of them that, you know, you get on camera and of course you're going to mess up. You want the corner and fold that under because you don't want a lot of fabric. But you can see how it works. Even though I've got a lot of fabric, you want to get the point of the canvas. And when you get the right point, then pull it. And you're going to want to staple it. If it doesn't work so hot, at least it's in place for another couple of more staples. See, I'm not getting these staples in good. Just pull them out. My first staple was the best one. This shows where you're going to lift the staple up. That staple can stay. That one's got to go. I've got an ashtray over here where the staples are going. Now, if these don't go all the way in, take your little hammer and tap them. I wanted to show you how to do a corner. But you go all the way around, stretching this. And you're going to want to stretch it because this is where it's going to get tight. Always work from the middle out. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it later. Now, here's the last part. This is where you really pull. Give yourself enough fabric. See, there's no wrinkles. And that's how you repair, and you've got a new canvas. Now see, when you get done with all these staples in these corners, you'll have a nice corner like this one. You may want to put more staples in if it looks a little bulky. And then when you're completely done putting your canvas together, I would spray both this side and this side with water. This canvas is made out of cotton and it will shrink. And I would spray it with hot water. Put hot water in your spray bottle. And it will draw this canvas up even tighter. Okay? That's this tip. Be right back. Hello. Now this is the last part of my tips, and I got my canvas all stapled up. If you decide not to use gesso, you can use regular paint, just you only use one coat. And then on the back side, to paint this back area, put some wax paper or freezer paper underneath it so that you can pull it out and it'll be clean up against there. Now once you paint this, you could cut it too. My dog is shedding. She's everywhere. You don't have to buy that no-sew if you're going to prime it with craft paint or a better paint. So I wanted you to know that. Okay, here's a tip. These little bottles come in all sizes on Wish, except the points, the difference between this point and this point is nothing. The difference is the size of paint you can get in. See, this is just a regular old sewing needle to put a pattern onto fabric. It'll go in there, and I'd suggest using that in between. If you go to put it down for a minute and walk away and come back, because it'll keep that clean. You can also use this needle to break any paint away. Just a regular push pin, not a push pin, a sewing needle pin. See, it fits both nozzles. I found the opening. Okay, here for the bigger projects, such as condiment bottles. Now they make it dirty in between your painting. These brushes will go in here and clean very well. If you happen to forget and leave your cap off, or you lose a cap, put a toothpick in there. Like I had, because I lost the cap. I might have lost it in my garbage can. And that'll work. Of course, you'll have to if you've left it for a while, you'll have to, see, it'll clean that tip with no problem. Okay, question is, where do these cute little brushes come from? I got them off of a tattoo supply store off the internet. You get 5 little brushes, and of course that's for the little one. This is for like a number 1 point on a tattoo machine, the needle. You put the needle into a tip, and it attaches to the machine. And that tip sucks up ink, so that when it starts bouncing the ink in and out of the skin, it's kind of restrained and holding that needle in place. And this is for like a 1 or maybe a 3 tattoo needle. But it works great on these small jobs here. If you want to get this in here, finding the hole isn't always easy. But see, it'll fit in there. And then you can come back on the other side. You got to keep these things straight. But anyway, they're found on tattoo supply stores. They don't run hardly anything, maybe $2. Okay. My last and final tip. If you're new to paintbrushes, now this is a very, very, very old toothbrush. I used to have cats and they've chewed the handles. And when you get done using it, you want to clean it out. Before you use it, you want to get it wet. Now see, right there, it's wet. Okay, now when you get done, you don't want to lay your brush straight up without doing something, because them bristles are going to go with gravity and open up on you. You can buy soap at your arts and crafts store. For me, ever since I was 9 years old, it's been a plain old bar soap. I can spend my money on something neater or, more cool. And I just use, once it's wet, I just run it to shape my brush around. I hope you're able to see this. And I'm getting, and if it starts drying too fast on me and I can't get it, all the bristles, just wet it again. And when you're done, roll it to where you got a tip. Because once it dries, you can lay it down. Once it dries, you can stick it in I am using an cocktail ice bucket to put my paintbrushes in. I found it a long time ago, and it's just the right size for as many brushes as I've got. And I like to hold them up like this. Some people like to hold them flat down. The only problem is gravity is going to push that tip down. So if that tip is up in a normal position, by the time you pick it back up, it's going to go with gravity. So the best way is force it to stay in one position by running it across a bar of soap. And then you just remember, when you go to paint, rinse the soap out of the brush. Okay? That's all I have for now. I hope I was able to explain some of this to you in a way you could understand. And if you have any questions about other topics, let me know. I probably can come up with an answer. I hope you have a lovely evening, night, and have a good one. Bye-bye.